everybody to the first of a number of live Facebook feeds where we will be showcasing small businesses and startups in our community in West Cork, where they will be sharing their experiences and in some cases demonstrating their skills to inform, educate and hopefully inspire others to follow their passion and start their business and go on that journey with our local credit union. We're delighted to be joined this evening by Trish Desane, a renowned cook who has presented her own TV show. She's also the best-selling author who has written over 25 books and sold over 1 million copies. She hails from Northern Ireland and has spent the past 30 years in France, where she fundamentally changed the way French families cook. She has now returned to start her own business here in West Cork. Welcome, Trish. Nice to have you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Good. So what are we doing this evening?
Well, I'm going to put you to work
Okay.
very soon, and I hope lots of you are tuned in. Hello, good evening. The hashtag is SBCULive. And just before we start, you're going to obviously get the recipe online afterwards. And what we'd like you to do is try it yourselves. So if you make it, take a photograph and post it on Facebook, and the winner wins dinner and skipperine.
Yeah,
Dinner for two and skipperine. Yeah. So anyway, we'll show you how to do it. It is a milk pie. And here's one we made earlier, so you get an idea of what it is.
Looks beautiful.
And it's quite, I mean, it's simple. It's a wee bit footery, as we'd say from where I come. But I'm going to get you to work for me. So,
Okay. So do you think I could make this?
I think so. Yes. After a little bit of instruction. So basically, what it is a kind of ruffled milk pie. This is a recipe I saw on Martha Stewart's wonderful magazine website a while back, and I just think it's so pretty. It's really, really sweet, and the ingredients are really easy to find. So we start with putting melted butter on the base of 22 centimetre tin, and then we're going to butter this phyllo pastry. Now, you have a pastry brush as well.
Okay,
So I've given you a tea towel too, because it's going to get a little bit messy.
Okay.
And so what I want you to do is brush. See that? Brush each sheet of phyllo with butter, and then we're going to ruffle it into the pie to make lots of little nooks and crannies, and then fill it with an egg custard and bake it. And that's as simple as that. And it's kind of crispy on the top and nice and soft inside. That's it. Well done. Keep going.
Keep going. Okay. I need to speed up here, is it? Yeah. Okay.
So then, if you just look at me for a wee minute. So then, what you do is just ruffle it like this, and it's quite good. It's quite forgiving. And then we're just going to turn it round, swirl it like this, the first one, and just pop it in the middle of the pan like that, and then just keep turning it round till we get to the edge.
I'll do whatever you see. So ruffle
That's
it.
Yeah, and we just keep going. So the milk and the butter I'm using comes from a little dairy called Glown Cross Dairy. I'm not saying it properly. I say Glown as in, in my Northern Irish accent. Have you heard of them?
Yes, I have, yeah.
They're making really quite interesting products now. They've got buttermilk and raw milk, and they're about to launch this new butter as well. It feels like, sorry, I'm taking this away from you. So, not folded, but ruffled.
Okay.
Just pinch it.
Okay. Don't try this at home.
Pinch it.
Pinch it.
Yes, like an accordion.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Pinch it.
There we go.
We had somebody else with this job, guys. You know what I mean? I'm just falling in.
That's brilliant. Much more regular than mine, actually.
Now turn it around.
No, you're going to wind it around this one.
I'm going to wind it around. Okay.
That's it. Fantastic. Right. How many more have you got left? One more. Let's keep going.
Goodness me.
There we are. Do you do a lot of baking at home?
No. Can't you tell?
What's your speciality? What's your signature dish?
I was just about to ask you that question, actually, Trish, and I'm glad you asked that question. You know what I mean? Because my signature dish is the dishwasher. You know what I mean? So, And I suppose that, I mean, what is your signature dish? Or?
Well, the one that people say that they cook most and that they know from me most is a chocolate cake. Now, I've kind of, shared this recipe so many times that I think everybody's kind of used to it now. And it's a kind of one-pan chocolate cake where you melt everything together. It's really basically a sort of cooked mousse. Very easy, very forgiving if you use good chocolate. So yeah, I think I need to stop baking it and putting it in my books now because really everybody's seen it. But I kind of see it as more a sort of public service to people, that they should have this chocolate cake in their repertoire rather than something that I need to do differently every time.
Yeah, I know the girls.
We're nearly there. Look.
Yeah. So ladies seem to have a relationship with chocolate. And I think I remember seeing somewhere where you were saying that you like good, healthy comfort food. My wife definitely was impressed when I told her that you said that. Is that the way she saw my cooking? No, but I told her that's what it was. I've probably the book that people know most from me is a book called I Want Chocolate, Je veux du chocolat, and that's about 15 years old now, that book. And it was a kind of mixture of quite difficult recipes and easy recipes, and I used sort of forbidden ingredients in France in those days, which are things like Mars bars and Twixes, so it was seen as they're still forbidden, I think.
Subversive. That one went down quite well, and I did have my own chocolate brand for a while. But there's great chocolate in Ireland now, as we were saying earlier. Lots of bean to bar outfits too. We're nearly there. Fantastic.
Yeah, so Tricia, obviously you were in France for 30 years.
Yeah.
Have you seen a lot of changes since you've come back to this country in relation to our palate and how people eat? And
oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm not from down here, but when I did come back to prepare the book that I wrote a couple of years ago, the changes are phenomenal. But there's always been a great food culture in West Cork.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to get to do this bit as well. Well, I think it's interesting to use this. Would you like to break the eggs?
Break the eggs,
Thank you very much. I think this is interesting, and food sovereignty is absolutely vital, and so that you see more and more great products like this in West Cork.
And you have to use
amazing.
Full-bodied milk?
Full fat milk.
Full fat, yeah. And can you use semi-skimmed milk?
I would go full fat. And every day we're hearing more and more information about how fat is actually good for you.
All right, okay. So we're moving away from the culture where we're starting to eat nice things again.
I think so. I think it's everything in moderation, and there's must be about 80 grams of sugar in there.
Okay.
And I'll let you whip that up for me. You can. There you go.
You'd know I was doing this all the time, wouldn't you guys? You know what I mean? So.
Everybody following at home?
Yeah.
Any questions yet?
So what's
Give it a good whisk.
Okay. This is not good for me. My wife was saying, how does a strange woman get you into a kitchen? And I can't get you in there with the last 30 years.
Is she watching?
Yeah, she is, yeah.
Okay, we've got it now. You see all these techniques. This means omelettes, scrambled eggs, mousse. It's a whole new world.
Okay, am I getting this right?
Yes, that's
yeah,
great.
very good.
And so we're just going to make custard with this. So if you could just keep stirring a little bit while I pour it in. So this is the hot, blown cross milk. There we are.
So what inspired you, Trish, to get into food? Because I know you started off in studying the arts or languages, wasn't it? So, I mean...
Well, I started up a little bit of vanilla extract. I started a mail order company selling chefs' ingredients and chefs' sort of quality chocolate. And I got sort of spotted by a publisher, and they said, we want you to write a cookbook, and that was really the way it started. But when I started, I had 3.5 kids.
Okay.
So I was looking for something that I could do from home, and it really just went from there. And then went into publishing, and then I did a little bit of TV as well.
Okay. So what was special about that you became such an overnight, I won't say an overnight success, but I mean, there's a lot of recipes in 25 books. Yeah, the secret to your success.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
just
always a really hard one,
you know?
really hard one. But I mean, what I'm told is that it's because the recipes were very accessible, and that they sort of made people look good when the recipes came out. So I mean, that's what I'm into. I'm into other people, you know, having success with whatever they're cooking, rather than the person who's showing the recipe, to sort of show off. You see what I mean? So I think the French warm to that. We've forgotten the stage. I'm sorry, I've been chatting away so much. This, while you're making the custard, this is meant to go into the oven and get slightly brown and golden on top. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to put it straight in.
Okay.
You'll get the proper technique online.
So is your philosophy that anybody can do these recipes? They're simple and...
Basically, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Because I have no formal training. You know, I'm not a chef.
Okay.
And so that was
maybe
what
not
appealed to
everybody.
French. I'm just going to pop this in the oven now. So that goes in for about 25 minutes until the custard is set. And then out it comes, and here we have the finished product. Just going to tear away a little bit of this.
Sorry.
And let you try it.
So we're done.
More or less, but you have to taste it first.
Oh yeah, that's okay. That's the easy bit. You know what I mean?
So let you do the cutting.
That looks beautiful now.
Well,
So for everybody, will I let you come?
that's okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Let me just set it.
So if we have any questions coming in from anybody that'd like to ask Trish.
Somebody asked if the free samples
Sounds like a Mediterranean. Mine will be there if anybody wants to try it, but I wouldn't allow that.
So you need to serve it really hot or warm, and the nice thing is that it's, you know, it's nice and soft underneath and then nice and crispy on top. Sorry, excuse my finger. Go.
So that looks fabulous. And do you put anything with it, or?
You could put more cream.
All right, okay.
Or
okay.
ice cream.
Okay.
Or a little bit of chocolate perhaps grated on top as well. So
are we going to
tell me
try
what
this?
you think. The milk is lovely. Milky, buttery.
Beautiful, guys.
Comfort.
It's lovely. It's fabulous. Because I have a weakness for anything pastry, I must admit. So, would you do this often, or with meals, or is it just special occasions? Or?
Oh no, I think that's a sort of, you know, people are popping in at the last minute for lunch or dinner. It's a really easy thing just to whip up. And the great thing about the ingredients is that you can keep the filo pastry in the fridge or in the freezer. So, and everybody usually has milk and eggs and butter to hand. So it's a kind of handy thing, a handy sort of store cupboard staple, I would say.
That's absolutely beautiful. I know you did, like you said, your last book was on Irish cooking. Was it you did a couple of years ago?
I did.
Yeah, 300 odd recipes, or I mean, so what are Irish people eating now? What is in that book they should consider going out and buying to get a flavour for the type of food that you do?
It was it was this kind of snapshot 2 years ago, I felt, of what was best about Irish cooking, and also from my point of view of coming back after all those years and really, you know, I'd sort of immersed myself in Irish food for a few months, and then the book came out. But really what came out of it was the quality of artisan. I mean, I know that's a very overused word, but that's still, you know, it's still evocative. The quality of let's say, independent producers of food was just absolutely amazing, and the skill obviously as well with the chefs. I think now, I mean, Ireland has completely embraced all the world trends, so we're seeing, you know, we had figures from Board Bia last week about how gluten-free has really taken hold. People are more and more interested in eating nutritiously. I mean, the word that people are using is healthily, but really, you know, we're looking at a more nutritious food. And I'm interested in seeing, you know, where the meeting point of our great local food actually meets those nutrition values. And, you know, and this dish, you know, certainly shows that, because we have this amazing milk, which is, you know, locally produced with, you know, according to tradition. Very few miles, and it's a, you know, it's a traditional one, and it's also extremely nutritious.
Okay, so So I mean, when we're looking at dishes now, and everybody, or my generation maybe, we don't lose the pounds as fast anymore. Calories content.
Oh, I don't know, and that's a thorny one as well. Because
It's what every woman wants to know. I think, you know what I mean. So,
well, yes, I think it's a lot more complicated. And obviously, I'm not counting many calories at the moment. But you know, again, the idea is to have a balance. So of course, if we're going to have a slice of this tonight, we're not going to then sort of finish off half of it for breakfast tomorrow morning. So it's all a question of getting balance and moving and doing exercise. So I wouldn't, and I think we're going to see a sort of swing round to that common sense as well, of not making a science of what is in our food or the way we eat it.
Yeah, because I think it appears that one half of the country don't want to eat anything, or because they're afraid to eat. The other people overeat. We're still in an obese culture in some respects, and like you said, it's that balance in there where they can have a bit of everything and can, I suppose, if you eat well and you can eat nicely then as well, and exercise and things. So in that regard, you know. Any other questions coming in or any comments? Because I know nothing about food here, guys, so we're looking for some support in here, and if anybody wants to ask any questions.
You use like a goat's milk
Instead of cow's milk, I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think the fat content would quite hold up to it. I mean, by all means, try. You know, do the recipe and show us. Presumably, somebody's got a dairy intolerance. Yeah.
So if you were doing a meal now for a group, what would be your signature dish or a number of?
At the moment, I'm cooking a lot of Irish lamb, and I love getting a rack of lamb and making some kind of herb crust. I find that it's a really easy dish to manage for a dinner party as well, because the timing, you know, you just, when everybody's sitting down, that's when you put it in if you want it slightly pink. So I've been making that, and then you know, a real crowd pleaser. And to me, that's always, there have to be potatoes, so there will be probably, you know, an olive oil and roast garlic mash alongside that, and then some, you know, nice crunchy green salad to give us all a good conscience as well. Okay. So it's really simple stuff.
Yeah, and it's in season at the moment, obviously. So lamb is beautiful.
And I love the way the lamb here. I mean, obviously the sweet spring lamb is coming through now, but I love that almost hogget taste of lamb as well. You know, it can be really quite robust and interesting. I love that.
Okay, I was going to say I'd ask you how to cook lamb, but I know that I suppose people are using herbs an awful lot more. They're adding things in our cooking skills. And I suppose TV and obviously is a real help in what you do to inform people how to do that and to be able to follow it. Where was that? I'm not sure where I was going with that now, actually.
No, but you're right, the spices. I mean, people are really discovering new worlds of spice and using them. And I think that marriage as well between, you know, lots of trends and cultures from across the world meeting our amazing produce is fantastic. You know, the way it's going, people are more and more inventive and creative as well. And
say, when you were obviously in France, you speak French as well. Do you think French when you're cooking, or
you know, it's fading. It's fading fast.
Yeah.
My daughter lives with me now, so we speak a little bit of French from time to time.
Okay.
I must admit that I sort of break into it immediately if I'm telling off my dog.
Okay.
It was a bit like that when my kids were small. I would always shout at my kids in French for some reason. Okay. I don't know. And so I do the same thing to my dogs. That sounds a bit odd. That's really what
okay. You didn't shout at me in French, so we're probably doing okay for a little bit of a moment. And so, I mean, in France, then again, I suppose, do you think visiting an area and being a part of the culture and getting immersed in it allows you to get a better understanding of what people are trying to produce in food?
Completely. I mean, food is now the way that people experience other countries and other people's lives, and it's really becoming that kind of you know, common denominator all around the world. People will now travel, and the first thing they will do is organise what they're going to eat and where they're going to eat and what sort of experience they're going to have about food when they get to that country. And in Ireland, you know, food tourism is worth €2 billion. And I mean, today, for example, the Best Irish Breakfast Awards were handed out, and you know, the importance of what people see on their travels and get to taste on their travels in Ireland and get to share as well with Irish people is massive.
Yeah.
It's really the way to go.
Yeah, I think so. All relationships are developing, around food, and it's becoming more and more, like I said, as an experience for everybody. Really, as such, and people want to experience more things.
And West Cork's fantastic for that, obviously, with the pubs and the restaurants, but also our fantastic tradition of markets, and very festive markets where there's always something going on, tastings and of course the amazing produce as well. And this area were real forerunners in that, so I think it's going to be important for visitors coming in.
Okay, I think we have another question.
So Mary Crowley on Facebook.
Hello, Mary.
How do you keep feed up pastry from drying out and preparing a dish?
Well, you saw that it was a little bit dry around the edges. It's really hard, and it's also, it's not that it's hard, it's important not to have it dried out. For this dish, what I do is make sure it's defrosted overnight, and then I would bring it up to room temperature for about, 15 minutes, but still in the packet. For the needs of our set here, I had it sitting out, but so bring it up to room temperature, still in the packet, and then use it as soon as you're about to do the dish.
And Clina on Twitter has asked about how you take such beautiful pictures on Instagram. Any tips?
The tips are really simple. It's all natural light. If you can find somewhere where you're not in direct sunlight, and you have the light source coming from one side, and it's either backlit or side lit. And obviously there's so many filters on Instagram. I tend to use, I can't remember the name of it, I tend to use one more than others, but Instagram makes it really easy to make your food look good, even if it's not great. So that's it. Use natural light and find a spot where you've got the light source coming from one side.
Very good. I know there's some people who said that the video has been buffering somewhere along the line, but we're going to put it up again
Okay.
later so they can watch it back in full.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't have them.
Okay, I suppose we want to acknowledge Dominic here is in the crew, and Christine here in the background, putting it all together for us. So,
And my helper, Molly,
and the helper Molly.
and Gemma,
Absolutely.
for letting me use their beautiful kitchen. It's gorgeous.
Just one thing that probably comes up as well is the waste in food, and I suppose we see waste in restaurants and things. Any tips in relation to, because like I said, we waste, I don't know, it's 1.3 billion every day in the world, and there's a billion, people starving on this side of it. So how do people, I suppose, not overbuy or just do the right thing, and how do they manage that?
I think it's great that people have got are conscious of this problem now. I think really the onus, though, with a lot of these ecological questions is with the supermarkets and with the big industries. They're the ones who can really make a difference and an impact. And in France, they've just brought in a law where it's illegal for supermarkets to now throw away food. So that would be wonderful to see in Ireland. We're such a progressive society. It'd be great if that could come in. I think at a home level, I'm finding, actually cooking with my 16-year-old, that reducing waste is also a more nutritious way of cooking. So, and of feeding ourselves. So I tend to do batch cooking of brown rice or quinoa or wholemeal pasta, and I'll make a good amount of that for perhaps 2-3 days ahead, and then just add all sorts of things. So prawns, poached salmon, avocado, tomatoes. I'll make pesto, and that packs in the flavour and then all the nutrients as well. And that's really practical. I mean, it's not an Irish mindset in the slightest. It's certainly not meat and 2 veg.
Yeah.
But it's actually working really well. It means that we cut down on waste, and we're sort of trying all sorts of different tastes all the time. It's that sort of, when you go on Instagram, Donald, because I know you're now going to start going on Instagram.
That's the first thing we're going to do next
photographing all your food. But there's a really popular trend on Instagram, which is bowl food. So people are making these absolutely beautiful bowls, and they're massively photogenic, but actually they're really delicious as well. And it's just this kind of different way of organising your shopping and your cooking. So I have a kitchen that's full of, if the apocalypse comes in a couple of weeks' time, I've got plenty of staples. And then I'll go and get really delicious organic asparagus or a really good salad, and that way the vegetables become the treat. and they stay fresh, and I buy those fresh during the week, and that really cuts down on waste. And it's easy now, really, 'cause it's just myself and my daughter. Before, with 4 children and 3 enormous boys, I actually had to set up what I called a carb station in the corner of the kitchen, so that they would always have bread and cheese on hand. So
I know that. So is freezing food out, or is it?
No, I have a lot of frozen food, a lot of frozen fruit, frozen peas, obviously, and pastry as well. Bought pastry. I'm not great at refreezing stuff that I've cooked. I need to work on that a lot. I end up with a lot of bags in the back of the freezer that I've not labelled properly, but that's,
And then throw it once they go out of date.
Well, can happen, yeah, but I'm working on that.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Any more comments, guys, coming in?
Everybody's commenting that they've really enjoyed it. Looks gorgeous. Lovely kitchen.
Lovely kitchen.
Thank you. This is the first time I've done anything live, actually. All my shows are always recorded, so it's been a first for me too. Thank you.
Everyone says Trish and Donald look great.
Thank you very much.
Quite
looks great, maybe Trish looks great. I'm way out of my comfort zone here, I assure you. So, just in relation to your own, when you were starting off, what do you think? Was what created that passion in you for food, or was it just evolved naturally? Or
well, I landed in France when I was 22, and I came from a family, one of those families where you're discussing at lunchtime what you're going to have for supper. So both my parents were absolutely crazy about food and cooking, and it wasn't that common in those days. So I just arrived in the sort of the best, I think the greatest food playground in the world, which is France, and discovered that the way people socialised there was by cooking each other dinner, which was not really, at that age it certainly wasn't what we were doing.
We wanted to keep the neighbours away.
No, but at 22 years old, food, you would be in the pub or you'd be in a club, you wouldn't be cooking people food. Nowadays, that's absolutely normal. So I kind of just threw myself into it, and my family-in-law was extremely foodie, and came from different food producing backgrounds, and there were just constant kind of family get-togethers and events, and we were in Paris, so the restaurants were amazing. So I was kind of doing it when it wasn't very trendy for people my age to do it.
Yeah, and from eating, are the French big eaters? I remember a story when we went to France. We were long married, and my wife was going around the shops, and she was saying, "Vous êtes trop grand." That ruined my weekend anyway. So she kept
You're too tall.
Yeah. She kept looking at the French people, and she thought they were smoking and weren't eating that much, and she said that's why they were so thin. So that's what she's holding on to.
Well, there's a lot to that. There's a lot to that. Yeah.
So I guess from the outside in, and I know that we were absolutely delighted to be able to get you here today as well. But I suppose sometimes we were nearly a little bit awestruck when you see what you have achieved in some respects from the outside looking in. So if a person is starting off or has a passion for food, or whether it's to going into business, what are some of the things that you've learned, or say that you've brought with you, that you could say, look, these are some things you don't have to go through. I've experienced those, to say.
I think as far as producing food is concerned, and again, in West Cork, people have got it. It is being absolutely obsessively concerned with quality and taste, and I would add to that sustainability, obviously, of what you're producing, and that's also something that's in the West Cork mindset, because it's been there for decades, thanks to quite a few food heroes. People like Veronica Steele passed away recently, and Dorina Allen, obviously. So I think that's really important, and I can see quite a few companies setting up who might perhaps be about style over substance, and it's more about packaging, it's more about following a trend. We mentioned gluten-free, and you can see a lot of them. I see a few of them on Dragon's Den as well, and you just think, they're just catching the wave. Now, that coming from France after 25 years in France, that to me, that's not what food is really about. I see it you know, connected to the land, connected to the farms, connected to good times around a table, and using great produce to cook things at home. So I guess that's what it is. It's really, you know, working. It's quite a pleasant task, I suppose. What I'm saying is that really taste things and really develop your taste, and, you know, perhaps travel a little more to find out what's going on in other countries as well.
So,
I mean, I came from publishing. I mean, really, that's my business, is publishing. I publish books. So the publishing world has changed enormously over the past 15 years. And globalization has really completely turned it upside down. So publishing these days is a complete, you know, is a different kettle of fish. In many ways, it's easier to get into because you can self-publish, and there are lots of ways of writing, lots of ways of getting your food writing out there. But you know, in a globalized industry, it's very difficult to find a book that is going to be distributed internationally, and I know what I'm talking about when I say that.
Yeah, and the whole social media aspect has obviously made it much easier for people to be able to learn and develop.
Fantastic.
If you were to take one thing that you picked up as well that you wouldn't do again?
I wouldn't do again.
Work with me in the kitchen. That's probably a standard answer.
Oh gosh, that's like saying, you know, je ne regrette rien. No, I don't know. I don't think it's a good thing to have regrets. Yeah. I'm sure there are lots of things I should change.
No, I mean, from a business, if a person was starting up from the learning business point of view.
Yeah, I suppose, I mean, I started a chocolate brand at one stage in France. And that is one thing, actually, because I've just done the local enterprise Start Your Own Business course, which is fantastic, and the importance, they were sort of pressing on us the importance of market research. So perhaps when I started that business venture back in France, and I just thought, it'll be fine, and that part perhaps was not properly done. Yeah. So I'm not doing that again.
Okay. So is that?
Don't forget to send in your picture.
Oh yes, so we'd love everybody to send in their picture, just like I made here this evening. So if we get that in, we will have a prize for somebody in the credit union. So listen, we'd just like to thank everybody who watched in and supported us. We'd dearly like to thank Trish. Go buy her books, go find out about her style, go promote her in that regard. Thanks to Dominic and all the guys here as well who supported this. I won't be doing this again, guys, but it's okay.
You're natural, you're great.
So thank you very much for that. So.
Thank you.